Cry out to God. That is our example to follow today. Cry out to God. He truly is your only hope. He's your only source of strength. He's the only way you're going to overcome this particular problem, issues, whatever it is. He is your only hope. Yes, of course, He uses means. Yes, of course, He's going to ask you to do certain things. Of course, it's going to be dependent on other people doing things. Yes, it's going to depend on the circumstances and situations. Yes, of course, God works through all of those means and ways and uses. Oh, He is sovereign, He is Lord over all. So cry out to the one Lord and God who has control all over those things. And in fact, as we have seen in the way Jesus is behaving, He can even do it miraculously and do it even outside the regular means, supernaturally doing wonderful things. Cry out to God, for He is your only hope, because that's what these two blind men do. Verse 27, as Jesus passed on from there, just notice there's a lot of moving going on, particularly chapter 9. He just healed. And so this is connected to that story that we just heard where Jesus was on his way to raise a little girl from the dead. And then a woman who had an issue of blood touched his garment and was healed. And so he did that just a little bit before he had caused somebody who was a paralytic, somebody that couldn't walk, to get up and walk. He called Matthew to follow him. Oh, he's doing so many things. Jesus is moving and getting things done. He is the only one that can do that. He's at work at your life and my life and all over the world. What a wonderful thing. So as Jesus passed on from there, two blind men followed him. And what did these blind men do? They should do what you and I do. We should do what they did. They cried aloud, crying aloud. Notice it's this it's this active, ongoing action, crying aloud. It's that ing. They're doing it. They're in the presence of doing it. So as we're hearing the story, we know it's a past story that happened. Two blind men followed him, past tense. But as they were following him, as they followed him, we see the crying. So this is active. Even the verb usage that Matthew chose to use in explaining this, it is intense. It is happening. We are to see them crying, not they cried aloud, but they were crying aloud. Have mercy on us, Son of David. That's what we should be doing. But every single problem we have, cry aloud to God. Cry aloud to Jesus. Lord, have mercy on me. Lord, have mercy on me. Christ, have mercy on me. That's what we should be calling out. And we know that it turns from us just merely praying to us actually crying. And when I'm saying crying, I'm talking the shouting, the passion behind it. And notice it's aloud and not just internally. When you're really crying out to the Lord, it really does come out of your literal mouths. And you say, Lord, please move. I encourage you, if you only pray internally without using your mouth to actually speak to the Lord, why don't you try speaking your prayers out loud to the Lord? They might be like me, like I don't want to do that in front of people, so I'm gonna go like in the basement or go in my little office or whatever and pray. But pray out loud. It really does change your prayers, particularly those prayers of distress. Cry out to the Lord. Have mercy on us, Son of David. That's the example we should follow. Verse 28. When he entered the house, the blind men came to him. Notice they are persistent, and Jesus didn't immediately heal them. They're crying aloud. They're following, have mercy on me. So much so that Jesus went in the house and still hasn't taken care of them. And the blind man still came into the house. And Jesus said to them, do you believe that I am able to do this? And you're like, well, of course they do. They're following after you, saying, please have mercy on us. And they said to him, yes, Lord. And then he touched their eyes. You see that sweet interaction between the Lord and his people. He touched their eyes, saying, according to your faith, let it be done to you. And our faith is truly tested by our prayers. Do you bring it to the Lord? Are you going to take time to talk to the Lord about it, or are you going to just spend your time planning, manipulating, calling people, doing this or that, trying to make it done? Or are you going to first and foremost come to the Lord and say, Lord, I need your help, and not worry about it, but just bring it to the Lord? And their eyes were what? Opened. blind people able to see. Wonderful. And then Jesus sternly warned him. This is what the scholars will call the messianic secret. Jesus is trying to keep the low down, trying to keep everybody hush hush about who he is. He warns them and says, "See that no one knows about it. Don't you tell anybody." Because remember, they were outside. When were the blind men? When did they receive this great miracles? When they came in the house. So no, it wasn't. This wasn't like a big public display of a healing. So he says, "See that no one knows about it." And notice too, with the little girl that he rose from the dead, he did it inside the house too. Had everybody leave as well. And we saw there as well that fame spread all about. Verse 31. But did they listen to him? Oh no, they don't. This is always the great. This is a great puzzle for us. Is that we're told to tell people about Jesus, and we don't. And then several people in the scriptures were told to not tell people what Jesus did, and then they go and do it. It's just depravity on display. It's our sinfulness on display. God tells us to do it, and we don't do it. But they went away and spread his fame through all that district. Of course, we understand why they received this great healing. But the question that we ask ourselves is, why would Jesus tell somebody not to tell people about it? Well, I think there are two reasons that we can think through for a moment. Number one reason is just practically, you need to listen to God. You need to do what he tells you to do, even if it's not what you feel like doing. That's a good thing for us to do what we don't feel like doing and just do it because God told us to do it. So I think there's just an element of just pure obedience. Obey the Lord. Secondly, think about this. As he heals people and as he does all these wonderful, miraculous things, great crowds are going to be formed. And we see other gospels will really point out that it seems like he is just overrun with all these people. He can't even really work. Just practically speaking, there's too many people thronging him and he can't really get around. And so practically, he's not able to do his work that he intended to do because everybody's just running to him and just like this mob type situation. And I'll add a third one as well. This whole idea that he is the Messiah, this promised king that's going to come after the likeness of King David and make Israel great again. There could be a political movement that swirls around Jesus where it's expected that Jesus would become king of Israel and rebel against Rome. And we know that when Jesus came his first time, his first coming, he came as the suffering servant in Isaiah. He came to give his life as a ransom for many. He came to shed his blood and die on the cross for our sins. It is in his second coming that he comes as king to judge the living and the dead. So let us follow this great example of the blind man. Let's cry aloud to the Lord with all of our problems. Have mercy on us, son of David. Let me give you quickly the journal, fill in the blanks here, scriptural insight. Jesus is able to do anything. So desperately call out to God because he really is your only hope. He's really our only hope. So cry out to the Lord. And here's the prayer I came from this. Father, forgive me for not calling out to you for help. Perhaps yours will actually be a petition. You're going to ask God, work on this one. Pray unto the Lord. And then the application. I will call out to God about blank. What is it that you need to call out to God? You need to verbally speak to him. You need to get alone 5 minutes, call out to the Lord. Let the emotions come out because you got all these things rolling around in your mind, your heart. You get worried about it. You deal with it in different ways. The best way to deal with despair is to call out to God. So I'm going to call out to God about blank instead of worrying because that's what we do a lot. We worry. So I'm going to call out to God instead of worrying or blank. What else? What else do you do to kind of cope with the situation? Call out to God and you'll find comfort in that. You'll even find direction from his word. Pray that has been a blessing to you, and I'll see you in the next video.